Okay, so I wanted to make this video as an update to share some information as well about the Holy Spirit, because they have black men soliciting me and following me in order to solicit me for an agenda. And these men are coming around with drugs and liquor and cigarettes. And so God was saying, when they caused me to leave the shelter, it's another black male following me on foot right here, down a road where I went down by myself, and another one coming up the road right here to pretty much get away from them, because of their involvement in what they're trying to do to me. So anyway, they have black men following me in vehicles, and even on foot, but mainly vehicles, trying to solicit me for an agenda. And they've been coming around with marijuana and things like that. And God was saying that I was in a shelter, and he was saying this like right after they staged for me to have to leave the shelter. He was like, they had me go into an apartment with a male, and of course I'm telling all the information about my pregnancy and Austin Meador abusing me and them taking my son. So with me being in the shelter where it's only women around, where because they're coming all past, and it's just, well, anyway, where it's only women around, and they're supposed to be obligated to a certain type of behavior while remaining in the shelter. And these women were violating how you are supposed to interact with other people inside of a shelter. And so the Lord was saying that after that, they were trying to put me in environments where men would have drugs, and to try to have drugs in my system. And he was saying, well, in the shelter, it was different because they have black men set up outside of the shelter with drugs at every corner. And then he was saying with marijuana. And so they're trying to make me nervous with black men following me. It's another one following me right now down the road. And I'm going to cross the road because it's a spiritual aspect of when you're speaking about your business, your children, and the plots that people are laying for you. And then they have a black male come running up behind you or running up in front of you, and white people as well. So I'm doing very well if they have to come out and do those kind of operations on me while I'm telling the truth and doing the righteous thing by giving the information. So anyway, they have black men soliciting me, and in the shelter, they were having black men come around the premises, and even though I was standing in the gate of the shelter, they had black men coming, surrounding the gate, trying to intimidate me while I was making my videos in the shelter about the threats to my son and about my pregnancy. And so that was intimidation while I was in the shelter, and I could tell that people were plotting on me inside of the vicinity. And when they put me out of the shelter, I had not been there for a week, but I was able to release a lot of information, including the baby's heartbeat that I'm carrying. And they had the woman staged to put me out of the shelter, and they brought me into a location with a black male, and the Lord was showing that the black male, he wasn't even like smoking marijuana, but they were trying to entice me to have drugs in my system. Excuse me, God bless me. And the sexual abuse of me just wanting to be in the shelter, like God let me know as a woman that adults are sexual, but at the same time, I want it to be my decision if I want to do something or not. And when you have people in a society that are trying to take advantage of your body, they do all sorts of operations in order to be able to do that. And that's leaving you vulnerable financially and not having resources. So as a mother who wants to protect my child, my son, and I want to protect his sexual health to where he's not being taken advantage of by predators, by my enemies, people who are predatory towards me as a black woman, as a mother, and then these enemies and these predators have gotten my son, my young, my offspring, and they're chasing me around the land with another baby inside of me, and they're preying on us sexually, predatory, the same way that they claim they would prey upon my son. And so they have the black men coming to try to force me into sexual intercourse, and I do not want to do that. And the women who are behind it as well know that I am a beautiful woman, but I'm a believer, and I do not allow people to defile me or my children. And so with me taking care of my son as much as I did, as well as I did, it caused a lot of these Satanists to threaten to defile him as retaliation, and these are my enemies. These people want me dead for shooting a gun and protecting myself. And so they have the black men following me and just trying to solicit me like that's going to be her only option. And so the women who were helping to run these organizations, possibly with men as well, well, definitely with men as well, they were staging to discredit me as a mother. And I had my own apartment at the time of the shooting, and me and my son have been living in our home for 3 years, and they released me from a jail cell and would not allow me to get into shelters. So this was their opportunity and tactic to try to take advantage of me, and to also try to take advantage of my son in the system, because they had me sued for him after I was released, and they're setting it up. First of all, I want to say, you know how these rich people are, and they know about something. And I just realized that when I was being dropped off by somebody who was not going to help me because I would not have sex with him. I thought about in his house when he said I can come and take a shower or whatever, and these people done went through a very lengthy process of corrupting files and corrupting records in order to say that they have custody of my son. And when you're dealing with people who feel like they got money or they're in high power, they want to try to make it seem like they didn't do all of this to somebody behind the scenes. So let's just take her child. Let's just take her son. And then have her screaming in the media about taking her baby from her. But then you have to have somebody to come in to try to divide the mother's tactic to get the baby back. So that means, okay, we're going to try to send in these black males, and we're going to try to have them with drugs and have them solicit the mother. So if everybody knew the evidence and everybody knew that I was protecting myself and that I'm pregnant, why would you go back and lie about it and then send black males to try to solicit me and give me drugs because I want my son back? And then what the Lord was saying about the environment is that they are forcing her to go into apartments with black men. They are forcing her to be outside where they can stand out and try to blow weed smoke in her face. That is evil. She is a mother who wants her child, and you don't have the right to continue to do that and try to manipulate a situation concerning someone's child. And it's very evil, so I have to expose that in order to defeat it. They should not have been making me go into any houses with any black men, or any men in general. And then the men are trying to pretend like they wanted to help, and then trying to get sex. And that helps as well for their agenda to have the mother being taken advantage of sexually, and then be disgusting enough to try to use that, which was a ploy, to try to keep her baby from her, and you threaten to molest the boy. You need to give him back. And it's sickening for a society to have done all of this, to even try to put me out of a shelter, because with me being in the shelter, I still had my identification. I still had about 3 more weeks in the 30-day women's program, and I could have transferred somewhere else. The main thing was that I was safe. And see, when somebody, well, not really all the way, but because they were doing operations inside and out, but they weren't supposed to be doing it. You see what I'm saying? So I was supposed to be safe. And for me to be in an environment where I can thrive, even if it's for a short period of time, could help me go a long way. And it also works the opposite way when someone puts you in an environment where they can tear at you for 30 days. And then so instead of you thriving and actually making any progress, the next month you're still down, and they can try to tear at you. And then incorporate black men to come out there to try to fight you while you're outside, sleeping outside, like, no, I want my baby. And then to have black men try to come up on you with drugs, and you like, no, I want my baby, you know? And so, and then the image thing of trying to make the mother look bad and trying to starve you, because when you're hungry and you need food and shelter, the main thing is having resources. And when people feel like you're a woman and you're pregnant on top of that, and you need resources day after day, you're not really getting enough, then they think that, okay, this is our perfect opportunity to destroy her. This is our perfect opportunity to come in and send in these black males that are not going to do anything but solicit her, and that's going to completely discredit her as a mother to try to get her son back. And it's going to completely send her into a downward spiral where she won't have any money to put out the information anymore. She won't have any money to keep herself up. She'll be completely shrunken and starved to where she'll be pretty much in our control, where she'll do whatever we want her to do, and that's to try to ruin her. And so this is what's going on, and I've been staying strong, and I understand the attacks on my image as far as trying to have men taking advantage of me. And I felt that I needed to explain it very well, because they were doing it inside of the shelter. And then it was deep enough to where it happened from Texas, where after I was released and after the shooting, I tried to get into shelters in Texas. And I recorded a video calling each one and continuing to call them, and they were continuing to deny me into the shelters. So that this is an operation that has been going on since Texas, and it was just Atlanta pretty much joining in on the abuse and saying that we're going to be patriotic and we're going to be prideful towards the American flag. And if Texas is denying her into shelters and trying to set her up like a drug addict and a prostitute on the streets, then we're not going to let her come here and get help. You know, we understand they want this black woman dead for protecting herself, and we're going to be a part of that operation because we're a part of the United States, and we're going to allow them to even come here from different states to try to do this as well and be involved with the operation in our cities. So that's pretty much what they have done, and they got this man crossing the street in front of me, and he doesn't need to be coming near me because they have no good intentions at all. They're not just normal people walking up on me. They are my enemies. And so, and then I'm telling the information while they're having men crossing the street and trying to walk all up on me. This is another agenda of not wanting me to be in a shelter because I could go over by myself to an area and work on my case where I'm not supposed to be being harassed. I could record a video in a setting where I don't look in distress or where I'm not being harassed. So, and I'm also able to just really tell the evidence without people trying to intimidate me because these are pedophiles and they have my child, and I'm not going to stop talking about it. So they're leaving. They've been doing this operation on me since Texas. And then I was telling all the information on my YouTube channels. I have several. And I was telling that they're leaving me outside in Texas for protecting myself. And I'm trying to get into shelters. And they're making me go with black men. And the black men were trying to force me to have sex with them in Texas and prostitute myself for the state so that they could say that I was a prostitute, drug addict, that I didn't have a right to even question for my son. And so I was fighting, and they had them coming around with drugs, and I was telling about that as well. And then I got to Atlanta, and I got stuck out here, and to see another state trying to join in and harm you for trying to come and get into a shelter and you're pregnant, and for the authorities, officials, people who are supposed to be helping black people in the community trying to sit back and watch. Some people who have come from out of town as well, because there's criminals from here too, but I'm noticing other people from different places here trying to hurt me in Atlanta. And I'm like, that really took a blow on me because Cynthia threatened to molest them. And so that just shows what they stand for in this city if you're trying to harm me and I'm telling the truth. So it's just very disgusting to be in a place like that where you got people who are supposed to help a little boy and his pregnant mother that'll sit there and try to set them up to be harmed. So, and then they got all the other black people looking at me like they don't know what's going on. They were angry when I got into the shelter, and I put it on my social media that I had finally got accepted into a shelter in Atlanta after they had tried to set me up several times the first few nights that I got here. And so I was making my videos, like I said, telling that I was in the shelter on my social media channel, and people in Texas were angry because they wanted me staged outside so that they could harm me about the shooting. And so they staged for me to be outside in Texas, and when I got here, they tried to stage for me to be outside in Arkansas at my aunt's house, and I ended up coming to Atlanta because I knew they had shelters. And so basically they're just setting me up outside in the United States trying to harm me, and I'm pregnant for protecting myself, because since Atlanta did it, and Arkansas did it, and Texas did it, they all pretty much doing the same thing. And I might as well just gone on ahead and label the entire country because I saw in the spirit about Donald Trump's involvement. And these women were trying to take me to be set up to be killed. And it was black officers trying to take me to white women, and having a black man in Texas try to set me up to be killed out of a home. And they trying to speed, seeing me coming down the street. And this white man, and a lot of the white people are coming to the black areas, like anywhere where I'm going, and then trying to act normal coming past me because of the information that I'm telling about the Coven threatening to molest my son. You cannot discredit me with marijuana, and you cannot discredit me by trying to force me to have to sleep with males and denying me benefits and, just normal resources. So, let me see what I was saying. Because I had to come past the street and they all trying to speed past and, do all that stuff to me, trying to intimidate me. So, yeah, it's a United States operation to try to keep me outside so they can harm me. They don't want to see me win. I don't know what these people could have done to my little boy already. And so for people to be trying to use that as an opportunity to come out and hurt me with a baby inside of my body, I'm just praying for their utter... I'ma just say Jesus. That's all. I'ma wait on God and they laughing talking about they denounce Jesus and they don't care about God and will taunt you with a baby in you. But people will be like, oh, that's the KKK. They just evil like that. But no, these black people is out here doing it, and they out here talking about they racist, and I don't appreciate that. I don't appreciate the black people of Stone Mountain, especially having a so-called reputation of having a black rights movement out here, and then they over here trying to help set a pregnant black woman up in their area. In Atlanta in general, with all the deaths that they have had of black people in so-called movements, and then you join in. But, like I said, America is racist. And so I was about to just go out the way I came, but then I wouldn't have no food or anything. I would basically be walking down a road with no bus fare, pregnant, and starving and being followed on a long road where there ain't no businesses or anything like that. So this street right here that I'm coming up on, it have a jail, and they got criminals trying to solicit me. So with my identification went missing in the apartment with the man Marcus Mitchell. After they stayed for me to be put out of the shelter, they had me go into the apartment with this man, and God specifically let me know that the man was setting me up, and that it has something to do with the pedophiles that have my son, and that he was setting me up, and that I was being set up in a motel room over here as well. And this man had something to do with it. The Holy Spirit was showing me, and it had something to do with pedophilia. And I'm exposing the information about these pedophiles that are in high positions, and also on the streets, and are gang members and drug dealers, and even in courtrooms. And they want to try to pull operations on parents that want their children, and that want to give birth safely, and then traffic someone's child. And the only way to prove that you're not doing it is to give the baby back to the mother where she can guard the safety of her child. But they're trying to sabotage me and not give him back. And he belongs to me, and it's my job to protect him from those kind of people that will pull facades and terrorize the mother, and then try to make it look like, oh, we're taking care of her son, and you're evil. You're a pedophile. And so it is what it is. And once you tell a mother that you were going to do something like that to her child because she shot a gun protecting herself. You cannot take back what you said to the mother, whether you did it or not. And you need to give her child, period. Like, you need to just, even if her baby got to go into an organization where she could say, like, if you want to try to say I'm a drug addict or a prostitute, like, it don't matter what you say about me. There are places where me and my little boy need to go together. And she's a mother. This is her little boy. They're going to be staying here, and they're trying to tear me down so much and have people keep having me be outside month after month to make it look like she's so unstable. There's no way he can go with his mother. She doesn't have anywhere for him to go, or she's mentally unstable, and they're abusing me and abusing my rights. I am pregnant, and I want my son. And I'll tell you how I'm perfectly capable of taking care of my son. First of all, because Jesus Christ is on my side, saying they need to give him back. He said that I was going to Texas to see if my baby is alive. So if God is like, Andrea's going to see if he is alive, then that means, yes, you need to give her baby alive. Even if we walked away on foot together, away from Cynthia's home and Joseph's home, with nobody there not knowing what the next step would be, then we would just have to do that because those people are wicked and because he is my son. And it don't matter where we at. Ain't no, oh, you gonna have that baby out there on the streets with you. That's the setup. That's why the women want to keep trying to send men at me to try to sexually abuse me so they can say, oh, she gonna have that baby on the streets and she all this. No, you're jealous and you did wickedness to me, and my son better be alive. So another thing is that they have the men going around with strollers that are in gangs and that are pedophiles with babies, and they're trying to set me up for the same agenda of letting men walk around with your children and letting other people walk around with your children that are wicked. At the end of the day, it's my child, and God is on my side. And, you know, as a mother, you shouldn't even have to beg for your baby because they paint the story as if the mama don't want the baby, the mama don't care about the baby, while people is terrorizing the mama and the baby in the house. Done ran the mama off, done made the mama have to protect herself, done tortured the mama up in the jail cell, done ran the mama from the state where they got a baby and done threatened the baby, done ran her from another state where she went to family, done ran her from, now they got her trapped in the state where she came from shelter, and then she pregnant. So I done like made my choice not to worry, like I'm pregnant, but at the same time, I came here to try to take refuge as well for this baby because they was trying to kill this baby in Texas, and I was trying to get Melby back with them plotting on the fact that I was pregnant, and they was doing it in my sister's home because I had come to my sister's house, Shakina, and told her that I needed to stay there, and I showed her that I was pregnant, and they tried to have some white women lie and say that I was not pregnant, and then give her the right to be able to be like, oh, now you gotta leave my house, like I don't gotta let you and that baby stay here because ain't nobody gonna confirm that you pregnant, so I can wash my hands with you and go on with my life, and I don't have to help you, but I was pregnant and I'm still pregnant, and that's wicked. And it's a lot of people that want to cover up how much I actually been through with them knowing that I am pregnant, and they knew I was pregnant in the jail when they was doing this to me and this baby. So I guess that's even more of a shame for people to have known they was doing it to me, and then for me to come out holding this little baby like, oh, y'all was gonna let these people murder me with this little baby in me for protecting myself, and y'all ran up behind the man that was abusing me and my son to help cover up the evidence and to help cover up my pregnancy. And then y'all was gonna sit there and let them set me up to be killed on the streets with this little baby in me for protecting myself. And I ran from my own home. I can't say that I was protecting myself in my own house because he ran me up out of my house with my baby, so I had to protect myself when I pretty much got cornered where I had went for help. And at that point, that's the last straw, when you got me running up out of my own house and I can't get to the phone and call the police. And I don't even care about all of that. What I really care about is, like I said, my sister knew, and she was trying to like treat me like a mule. Like, okay, you got to give me money and you ain't got shit. So that's how they want to try to talk about me with a baby still in my body, and they want to kill it. And that hurts because it hurt my body for somebody to try to kill a baby that's attached to my body inside of me. And that's torture, and that's not right. It's not right, and it hurts. So as much as they wanted to just try to hurry and kill it with little sneak ways, whatever they was doing, it didn't work. It just pretty much just kind of tortured me a little bit and made me fight back to get back comfortable and stop them from killing it, because it hurt me to let you just kill a baby in me. It hurts my body. So I've been fighting back, vocally advocating for myself, and y'all see me standing my ground and moving around in certain different areas to stay alive. And they got it to where I got to ask people for food knowing I'm pregnant, because the doctors would not confirm that I was pregnant and just let the people keep abusing me and trying to kill it. And so they got me having to go up to people and ask them if I can get, how you doing? I'm supposed to act like I want to speak, and he kept driving because I was going to ask him for some money. They all know what time it is. I'm hungry. I haven't ate nothing since this